Song Talk Radio.
Welcome to Song Talk Radio, the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and together we all become better at writing songs. Dialing in from our headquarters in Toronto, I'm Neil Modi. My usual co-host, Phil Emery, is in transit. For everyone else, please send your comments and questions to @SongTalkRadio on Facebook or Instagram, or feedback at songtalk.ca for the email, and we'll share your thoughts on the show. And please visit songtalk.ca to see the show post for this episode, and to find links to resources we mention, and to download lyric and chord sheets to follow along with the songs that we feature. Today, we're very pleased to welcome Canadian pop singer-songwriter Olivia Penalva to the show. Welcome to Song Talk Radio, Olivia.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you on the show. So glad you could join us today. And before we get to Olivia's great song, just another heads up about our songwriting challenge for 2026, which we now have officially dropped. Our songwriting challenge for this year is to write a traditional country song. And you can check out the webpage, the dedicated webpage for the challenge, including the launch episode we did with singer-songwriter Blair Packham a few weeks ago, and a couple of resources, videos and things on getting you learned up and stuff for all the things related to that. And of course, we'll go through the spring and the summer, and sometime in the fall. We haven't set our dates yet, but we'll be sharing the hosts' answers to the challenge, as well as inviting our listeners to send in your songs for the challenge, and we look forward to sharing those on the podcast as well. It's always a great fun time we have on the challenges. We've been doing them for over 5 years now. I think 2020 was the first time we did a songwriting challenge on the show. Have you ever engaged in songwriting challenges, Olivia?
I don't think I've ever done one now that I'm hearing about this, so it could be fun to participate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely check out the show post about it, and listen to the launch episode, because sure. and that dedicated webpage alongside of it, there's all the songwriting challenges we've done in the previous years. It's always a different topic and a different sort of slant. Sometimes it's music theory related, sometimes it's lyrical related. This one, in fact, if you listen to the launch episode, there are many things that are attributes of a traditional country song, simple chords, compelling story, those sorts of things. So there's a lot to think about, and I think for a lot of our listeners, judging by the songs we've received on the challenges in the past, not many of them fall into the country bucket, I would think. So hopefully it's a bit of stretching for everybody.
Yeah, I love
it. I know it's gonna be a stretch for me. I barely even listen to country, let alone write one. So
fair enough.
Yeah, it's always good to get yourself out of your out of the creative boxes you usually hold yourself in, and stretch a little bit and do something a little different than you're used to.
100%.
Okay. Olivia Penalva is a Canadian pop singer-songwriter known for her ethereal vocals, emotionally rich melodies, and introspective storytelling. Her music has been described as a weighted blanket for the soul, soothing, immersive, and deeply resonant, blending intimate lyrics with lush cinematic production. Earning a top 20 spot on Canadian radio for singles Love Me, her follow-up single X's has reached the top 20 on both CHR and Hot AC Radio in Canada. The song also marked Olivia's first foray into U.S. radio with a top 50 spot on mainstream pop radio. With over 620 million worldwide streams and more than 17 million YouTube views, Olivia has built a dedicated global fan base drawn to her evocative storytelling and emotional honesty. Tonight we'll be talking to Olivia about her song Code Blue. Be sure to download the lyric sheet on the show post at songtalk.ca to follow along. Let's take a listen.
Chasing my own tail, making mountains out of every small detail. Feel like I'm wasting time on anyone but me. I'm so caught up in storms that I can't feel the breeze. Underneath all the leaves, by the the trees bury me. 'Cause the past, it's a trap. So detach, don't look back. I've been thinking about loving you. There was nothing I wouldn't do. I would have died doing it, it's true. Emotional cold blue. I'm alive, but I'm different now. 'Cause it's you I will live without. Who am I, what am I to do? Emotional cold blue. Emotional I'm not a storm chaser, but living in the clouds means rain and thunder's gonna follow me around. I hold my breath until the sky opens the door. Like I can't breathe unless it finally starts to pour. Underneath all the leaves by the trees bury me. 'Cause the past, it's a trap. So detach, don't look back. I've been thinking about loving you. There was nothing I wouldn't do. I would have died doing it, it's true. Emotional cold blue. I'm alive, but I'm different now. 'Cause it's you I will live without. Who am I, what am I to do? Emotional cold blue. Wheel me in fluorescent lights. Doctor, please don't let me die. I've done things, I've told lies. Different me, different time. Who I've been, who I might. One more chance to get it right. Cross my heart, cross my mind. I'll see you, but not tonight. I've been thinking about loving you. There was nothing I wouldn't do. I would have died doing it, it's true. Emotional cold blue. I'm alive, but I'm different now. 'Cause it's you I will live without. Who am I, what am I to do? Emotional cold blue. Emotional cold blue. Emotional cold blue.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack in this, and there's a lot there's a lot to like in this as well. Very catchy melodies, compelling lyric spots and things like that. The first thing I want to ask you actually is on your lyric sheet, you've credited also Tavish Crow as a co-writer on this. Can you describe what the collaboration looked like there?
Well, Tavish and I, this past year, have been working so much together on so many things. We did my last single together. I've worked with him for years, but there was a point this year where I just loved what we were doing so much that I basically was like, look, you need to be my co-pilot on whatever this project is. He's such a talented human, and it was just so much fun. And it's interesting because this whole project we've been working on has been over Zoom pretty much. I think we've had like one in-person session because he's in Vancouver and I'm in Vernon. And but it's been fun. I feel like sometimes it can be hard to feel the music when you're not together, but I feel like we kind of just get each other. Like I can send him something that I'm thinking about and be like, this is the song I have in my mind. And he'll go by himself and he'll start to build out a track, and then he'll come back and I'll be like, this is like from my brain. Like, how did you do that? So working together is so much fun.
That's nice. Yeah. So you didn't actually jam together over Zoom necessarily. That's kind of challenging to do sometimes, but yeah, actually we talked about that on the podcast I think last year where it was a songwriting challenge from the at home songwriting group that I engaged in, and worked with someone in Minnesota from Toronto, right? It was, and then that was it. A couple of Zoom calls and a running Google Doc and sort of shooting ideas back and forth, just like MP3s.
Totally. Well, and sometimes it's different, like there's the odd time we get on a session together and like we'll be making something from nothing because we're like, what do we want to do this week? Other times he'll have made a track that feels like my sound and really resonates. And other times I'll be alone and I'll be, recording a voice memo of something I hear and sending it to him. And it's fun. It's definitely, when you're in the room with people, I feel like you can feel the music so much more. There's is something different about it. But, after COVID, everything went on to Zoom, and because I do live kind of more remote, and traveling, especially in Canada, is crazy expensive. We work with what we've got, and I've got a little studio here, and so it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. There was one thing we talked about when I talked about that process, as well as a strong introvert. And my co-writing partner was a strong introvert as well. We both highly agreed on this. It was nice to be able to just get something from your partner, sit with it for a little bit, come back, in a day or two or something, and let it ruminate a little bit, as opposed to being in a room with somebody and you feel more pressure to sort of come up with something
Yeah.
clever on the spot, or compelling or something like that. But but it works both ways. But so you say it's pretty much a 50-50 split, music, lyrics, everything you guys collaborated on.
Yeah, I think it depends on the song. Like there have been songs where I pretty much wrote the whole thing and I can make little demos for myself, but I feel like he kind of just gets where I'm going with things, and I'll send him, or there's like one lyric missing and I'm like, "Can you join me? What am I trying to say here?" And then most of the time, other times it's 50-50. And it's also nice to, as a young woman, like work with a man who is willing to write about the things that I've experienced in my life. And if there's moments where I'm pissed off at the world because I'm a woman, he's like, "Let's write this, let's do it." And sometimes you come into sessions where the person you're writing with doesn't always get you or get what you're trying to say or feeling in the moment. So he's just a great person to work with.
Yeah, and I think that's in some senses that's number one when it comes to collaboration, is check your ego at the door, because I don't think it's a question necessarily of them not understanding you. It's them wanting to inject their own story, their own thing, their own identity, and stamp it on what could otherwise be construed as your song, especially if it's coming from a very personal space or
Exactly.
from that kind of an angle, right? So yeah, that's encouraging to hear, and those are the best kind of collaborations, in my opinion, when you're open to other ideas. But what do you guys ever butt heads on ideas, or say no, that doesn't work, or?
No, I think we're pretty open. Like if I really feel like I want to say a certain thing, but maybe he thinks there's a better way to say it, or vice versa. Like, I'm not gonna have an ego about that lyric. Like, I want the best lyric possible. But I don't think, no, we've never butt heads, which is kind of nice. And I feel like sometimes we're thinking the same thing. So it just kind of makes it easy to do. And other times, your co-writer says something that you just didn't expect, and it ends up being the better lyric. So yeah, we haven't had that happen yet, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Knock on wood. Hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes that can actually create, like, some kind of friction can actually create some interesting ideas too. You never know, right? Or
Totally.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's the one thing I appreciate about this song is how the sections are very, very clearly delineated. And it's not just looking at the lyric sheet. The verse sounds very different than the pre, sounds very different than the chorus, sounds very different than the bridge, the different melodies, different chord patterns, everything. Like, it's very much traditional pop songwriting in that sense. And you've got all the sections. You got verse, pre, chorus, and bridge.
Yes. I
A
know. I
lot of
love
different sections.
totally. And you know what? I think it's like when you go to radio and when you write certain songs, it's always like shorter, shorter, shorter. For me, the story, as long as going shorter doesn't mess with the integrity of the story, then I'm okay to do it. But I love a bridge. I love those moments in songs where it's like, where are you taking me? And I really felt like with the story that's being told in the song, each of those separate parts really, they needed to be individual to help kind of tell that story and take us where we're going, especially to show people, not just through the lyrics, but through the sound, how I was feeling.
Mm-hmm. So was that a thing for you for this song? Like, coming up with that So when we say a metaphor, even though it's kind of spelled out, emotional code blue is pretty clear what it's
Yeah.
what it's about, right? But was that the thing you came up with first, and then decided to come at it from these different angles, or was it a personal experience that then led you to emotional code blue as the kind of hook?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's definitely based, all my music is very based off of my personal experiences and things that I've gone through. And this song in particular is talking a lot about my experience in this industry and working with certain people who basically wanted me to be what their version of, at the time a pop star would be. And to the point where you wake up one day and you're like, I have no identity of my own because the person that you work with who's like, oh, I love this and this about you, all of a sudden you're like, where are those things? I'm someone different. And so I writing down words, that things that that kind of related to how I was feeling. And Code Blue is one I was playing around a lot with. There's certain songs too, where I'll put that word or words into another song, almost like it's like a teaser or whatever, but I really wanted this to be the song. I wanted it to be the emotional code blue that you can experience when you literally are kind of giving yourself up to the control of somebody else and then waking up and realizing like I have no clue who I am anymore. So that's definitely where it came from.
Very cool. Yeah, there's some great image. I love the last line of the first verse. I'm so caught up in storms that I can't feel the breeze. Like that's really cool because of that duality, right? You're in,
Yes.
you're in this one space, but it's not, somehow something's amiss, something's not right with that
Totally.
condition.
And I love
Yeah.
the weather, like was really important to me for this because I feel like it really can describe so much of the things you're feeling. And even going into the second verse where it's talking about how
Yeah.
I'm not a storm chaser, but living in the clouds means rain and thunder is going to follow me around. For me, like this chapter of my life that I'm describing is the aftermath of waking up after those things and realizing that now you're the one, like it's done now, but I'm so messed up from the experience that I'm chasing my tail and I'm creating this more of this storm for myself because I don't know who I am or how to pull myself out of it. And I feel like the weather was just a fun way to kind of express those feelings.
Is that typical for you, that you write in sort of more imagery, more abstract than just stating it plainly?
Yeah, I think honestly, most of the time, I think so. Like, there are very few moments. I love weird lyrics, I love weird words, I love also writing songs that, I could write a more literal song and be like, this is what happened to me in the music industry, but I want to write songs that I feel like other people can relate to, if even if they don't relate to my personal experience, they relate to the feeling, or maybe they've gone through something similar. So oftentimes I will take my ideas and I'll write them as a love song or a breakup song when the story deep down is technically a little bit different, but it just allows everybody to relate on a more, or just draw from their own experiences when they hear it.
Yeah, yeah. I would tend to agree with that this kind of a lyric allows me as a listener to inject my own
Yeah,
interpretation, my own story into that, and pull whatever I need out of it, which is really cool.
cool. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, because you even go into, like, of all the weather and storm stuff. Your bridge is actually kind of interesting in that you're actually going in. It sounds like an operating room.
Yeah,
Doctor,
yeah.
please don't let me die, which is getting into the literal code blue of
Yes,
what it might be.
exactly. I think there's definitely a mix, and it's funny because even when, like, I haven't done a video for this song yet, and it's something that I really want to do, but even talking about that, I went so back and forth on, like, how literal and hospital driven do I want to be? And I think what's interesting about the lyric is if I were to do something like too clinical, I think the lyric is too heavy. Like there is some, it's not a funny song, but because the music is fun and upbeat, like there has to be some of that satirical humor in it to play off of what I'm saying. Otherwise, it's just okay. This gets depressing really, really fast.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's always a funny thing trying to think of video content or visual content to go along, because your album cover if I'm not mistaken, is you holding a vacuum on a
Yes.
on a lawn in front of a house, and I'm like, this
Yes.
has nothing to do with what the necessarily.
Yeah, well, I wanted, well, first of all, taking those pictures in public while people are driving by was so funny. Me and my photographer and I were just like laughing at ourselves because the whole time I'm like, this is either really stupid and it's gonna look so dumb, or like this is gonna make sense. And the reason I went that direction with it was I wanted to show that sense of like, for me, instead of maybe a hospital, it's like when you're struggling with mental health and you're outside, and instead of mowing the lawn, you're vacuuming it. You don't even know what you're doing anymore. So that's kind of where the picture came from, but it was definitely quite funny to that experience was quite funny.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you can take, yeah, you can take that artistic license to look. So on the surface of it, looks kind of weird, but then
Yes.
you ascribe that meaning to it, or you have the meaning backed up with it. But I think that sort of thinking is kind of crucial even when it comes to the songwriting, because you're taking your personal experience, you're distilling it down to its core emotions, you're writing the lyric based on those emotions, not based on the personal experience necessarily, and then you're even reinterpreting that into a visual medium with the wrong tool for the job kind of thing on your single cover or album cover or
Totally.
whatever it is, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool. So is this a typical thing for you too, to have all these different sections for a song? Do you ever write a song that's just verse chorus or just verse?
Yeah, there are it's funny, I'm like, what do I want to give away? What do I not? Basically, this is going to be a whole project eventually, a whole album. And there are songs on there that are just a verse and a chorus. And the chorus doesn't even feel too much like it's necessarily a chorus. It's like a continuation on. I love writing songs in any way, just whatever feels right for the story we're telling. Like sometimes you want a song where it feels like you're sitting down and talking to a person. And in those
Hmm.
cases, I think it's fun sometimes to like get away from that pop structure and do something which isn't weird, but I call weird because it's not like the typical. I love doing stuff that's not the norm. And my buddy Taft and I, when we write, we always say like no rules, because I think sometimes the best songs come from those moments where you ignore the mathematical order that songs are supposed to go in for a genre.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
we've had a lot
Yeah.
of fun playing around. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very cool. Yeah, because I really dig the pre-chorus, and just the way it's crafted as well.
Thank you.
Underneath all the leaves by the trees,
Yeah.
very like it's got an E sound, and then the second line, pass, trap, detach. Like it's got that A
Mhm.
sound, and you really accentuate the vowel. You stretch the vowel sound in those things, but you're also hitting the consonant on the end of those words in just the right way. I
Oh,
think,
thank you.
right? Because oftentimes, a lot of the times, the singers kind of put a lot of emphasis on the vowel and kind of forget about the last consonant.
Yeah,
It
that's
kind of
fair.
fizzles into nothing. But
Fair.
and it's a fine line between pop singing rather, and sort of Broadway style,
Hmm.
more theatrical singing, where you do really accentuate every word, kind of thing. But I really like
Yes.
the structure of that. Did that take a long time to write the pre-chorus?
I don't think so. I think that was one of the moments in this song, if I remember correctly, where it happens so fast. Sometimes you're sitting there working on something forever and it's like, what is this? This is not something is not working. And sometimes, that means, okay, we should try something else. And sometimes you work at it till it works and it becomes amazing. But that was, if I remember correctly, one of those moments where that's naturally where my mind wanted to go with the melody, and then just fitting in the right lyrics for that. And when I write lyrics, I always refer back to older songs of my own and the feelings I had and the things that I was saying. So even in that one, being buried under the trees, um, there's a song on my last album that I did called You've Got Yourself to Blame for the Way I Love You. And there's a whole lyric in there about dancing in the trees with this person. You're kind of in the shade hiding out, and all of a sudden in this song it's like, okay, now we're buried under the trees, like what went wrong? So
Oh,
I love to
okay.
do that and connect them. So that was kind of a fun part of that pre-chorus, was
Nice.
just referring.
Yeah, that's really an interesting tip. Is take what you've written before and twist it a little bit and see where you end up. That's really clever. And you're right. It does. It's the kind of thing that would end up getting you there faster, right? Because you got something to latch onto, and you
Totally.
can
And I
work with it.
100%. And I think, the more casual listener might not notice. The people that like invest themselves in more, if they know your discography, then they notice. And then it's kind of fun because they're like, wait, like I've heard this somewhere before, said kind of differently. And I think because my music is so autobiographical, like it is one emotion that I felt at one time and where I'm at now. And it's like, okay, how can I continue this story and explain the new circumstances? So it's a really fun way to write. Then sometimes I'm like, let's just do something random. Yeah.
So for you, is it lyric and music together, or lyric and melody, and then you hit it? Are you? I see in your background there you've got piano and guitar. So I have to guess if you're primarily piano or primarily guitar.
I'm definitely more guitar. When I play piano, I don't know what I'm playing. I play by ear, so I can kind of make out the sound and the chords that I want. And it's always different with every song. Like sometimes it's okay, I thought of a lyric, or the other night I had a dream, for example, and I woke up and I actually remembered the lyric in my dream. It wasn't anything good actually, but it was like I remembered, I thought of this while I was sleeping, or I'm in the car and I'm angry, and then I'll come sit, and sometimes it's like I don't know what I want to write about today, but I have this like feeling like let's just play and see how it manifests itself.
And then so do you usually sit down with your guitar before you develop melodies, or like
Yeah,
you
I
jot down some kind of a lyric? You have notes on your phone or Google Docs or
oh
something
yeah.
you use?
My notes, and sometimes I don't even write. Sometimes I'll just bring out the voice memo and I'll sit down, whether I feel like, okay, like it, for example, like when it's rainy days, I'm like, this feels like I need to sit at the piano, and I'll just press record and I'll see what comes out. And it's also cool to see how a song can completely change from when you first started playing around with it. There was a song I wrote recently where I was playing it on the piano, and it was cool, but I wanted to do something with it, but I ended up completely pulling 180 and pulling out my guitar and changing the vibe of the song. So it's kind of cool to see how it can change.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, that sounds like fun.
It is fun most of the
Yeah.
time.
The one thing I wanted to ask you about, and this is something that hopefully I'm not generalizing too much, but one thing I've noticed in, I don't listen to a lot of pop music, contemporary
Fair.
pop music, right? But a lot of contemporary pop music, all of the last 15, 20 years even, um, choruses tend to be as many words as the verse, number one. And they also tend to be not as resolved as they used to be in sort of a musical, like, da 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 da
Yeah.
da, and you finally land on something, right?
Yeah.
Your chorus sounds very tense. It kind of
Yeah.
keeps on rolling, and doesn't really resolve musically until you get into the next verse,
hmm
right? And I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a modern trope, and it sounds more old fashioned if you come to a strong resolution on, say, the word emotional code blue, and then you land on
Yeah.
the one chord and kind of finish and then go into the verse, as opposed to, it rolling
Totally.
and finally drops into the verse. Is
Yeah,
that
I
something
think
you're conscious of, or?
sometimes it is. Like in this song, you said this one feels quite tense. Like I feel like that the music encapsulates the feeling of, and the lyric of like what I'm going through. But it's definitely interesting to see how music has shifted. Like a lot of early 2000 songs do have that like landing point. And when we write songs like that, we always refer to them as like early pop days, or like, even rock songs used to, like there was always a landing point. And it's definitely changed. So it's quite interesting. And I think a lot of it is subconscious because you just, like, I don't know, I can't explain it. It just is wherever the, it feels like it's supposed to go. Like when I am recording too, like sometimes that is how the ending comes. We don't have like a particular landing spot. And when I go to record the vocals, I'll just kind of keep singing or do, like a lot of post chorusy stuff, repeating lyrics, and then that's where it'll end. So there still isn't like necessarily a landing point
Right.
um, in the song. So it's definitely interesting. But I see the change you're talking about. Like the music used to be so much. Even when I started writing in the early days, like, okay, where is this song landing? What's the catch line at the end? And these days it's like sometimes the chorus starts on that and doesn't end that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I find is kind of the tendency, and especially with maybe it goes hand in hand too with a wordy chorus,
Mm-hmm.
because like we did an episode on the podcast a while back, songs with declarative choruses, where the chorus is declarative. It's really saying one thing. It's like the whole chorus is like three or four words maybe, and then that's it, right? And it really comes to a strong resolution, and it really just pins it down, and then you move on to the next section, and no one seems to do that anymore.
No, it's definitely interesting in those moments where we do have songs like that. Like there was few we wrote where I'm like, this feels like a different time period for the song. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like now. Like it feels like I could have written the song 10 years ago and it would have made more sense. So it's true.
Yeah, because you said something earlier in the episode about I don't know who it was demanding it, but someone people are always wanting shorter and shorter songs. So what is that? Do you think that's diminishing attention spans? Do you think that's something else? Because as far as I'm concerned, you can write a 4 minute song and you can take your 15 seconds out of the hook 15 seconds and stick it into your TikTok. Like it's not doesn't mean that the song has to be super short just because of TikTok.
Totally. That's why I'm a huge album person because I feel like you can do whatever you want. You can make the songs as long as you want. I think it's such a like online and radio thing where like, even early days when I started putting my music out and it getting starting to get spins on radios, it was like, okay, this song is, it's 20 seconds too long, but it's 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And it's like, how much shorter can we make this thing without changing the integrity of the song? And I do feel like people have very short attention spans these days, even online when with marketing, talking about posting on TikTok, it's like, okay, under a minute because no one's going to stay longer. And it's like, for me, like, how can I tell a story to people in under a minute and get my point across when I just love to like talk to people and share my experiences? So, um, that's why I love albums because I feel like there's no rules. Do whatever you want. Make it like Taylor Swift's a great example of making a 10-minute song. If your fans love what you do, they're going to listen to it. So I don't think cutting songs shorter um, is always the right move.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, I suppose for at least the single or the lead song or whatever, because there's always a thing on Spotify and other streaming services that doesn't count as a play if they skip it within the first 30 seconds or whatever it is, 15 seconds. So if you're loading up your hooks and stuff up front and really getting into it right away, then chances are it's going to be a shorter song because you're not
100%.
taking you're not taking the time at the beginning. Your song actually has like it's not even 8 bars. Is it 8 bars or 16 bars at the beginning before you start? So there's some oohs and the chord progression, and then finally the lyric comes in.
Oh my
It's a
God.
bit of a longer
Yeah,
intro
it is a
than
longer intro.
it's
And
not
it's
super
funny.
long, but it's
No,
longer
but I
than
love an intro. Like for me, those are those are the things that hook me is the feeling off the bat even before the person starts singing. So I don't mind when they're shorter and just kind of go right into the song if that's what feels right for that song. But um, I don't know. I just whatever this is happening in the sound at the beginning, it's like I just love that, and I think it was longer actually before, and we cut it down. So.
oh really?
Yeah, it definitely was. And it's funny because the original cut of the song had these like weird noises on the top parts of the bridge all chopped together to show the like the spiraling in the mind. And then I thought, I love it. I understand it, but it's a bit jarring for people who are maybe in the car driving and all of a sudden you hear all this like spiraling and random chopped up bits. So we ended up cutting that out just because I was like, I think you could cause a car accident if how it started.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like that. It's like that classic Sloan song from the '90s that has the police siren at the beginning.
Yes. You're like, am I getting pulled over?
Am I getting pulled over?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And I think that's an important thing too, because it's even with lyric writing, especially with lyric writing for me anyway. It's always a gap between what the song is about, especially when you're writing more imagery and abstract lyrics. You know where these ideas came from and where these images come from, but does your listener really understand? Do
Yeah.
they get it? And it's hard to get yourself out of your own head and into the head of the listener, right? And it's the same sort of thing that you're talking about. Are people really gonna, really
100%.
gonna understand this, get it, and enjoy it? Whatever. Some people may.
Yeah.
Some people may think, oh,
Well,
that's an interesting abstraction of spiraling thoughts
yes.
and everything else, right?
Again, I totally, and I feel like that depends on how hardcore of a fan the person is. Like, or how deep are they reading into things versus like the most people who come across you, especially for the first time, might be a more casual listener. So the way you do have to step outside of your own stuff sometimes and think like, how can I hook them quickly? How are they going to respond to this? And sometimes that does mean taking out something that you might feel like artistically helps tell the story. And you can always put it out again later or on the album or something if you're that passionate.
Yeah, on your greatest hits record, you can
Yes.
put the extended version on the Bandcamp special.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so what's next coming up for you? So this song has been released already?
Yeah, this song is out, and
Is it part of
what's
an
next?
album or is it a single?
I have been working on an album, so I'm really excited about it. I haven't announced it publicly yet, but it'll be coming hopefully pretty soon. And I'm just excited to continue the story.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. I believe I am hearing the band, and I think that's all the time we have on Song Talk Radio. Special thanks to Olivia Penalva. Where can our listeners find out more about you and hear some more music?
You can find me on Instagram, all the socials at Olivia Penalva or oliviapenalva.com.
Awesome. I'll definitely put a link to that stuff on the show post for this episode. And we want to hear from you too. So please send your comments on Facebook or Instagram to @SongTalkRadio or send us an email, feedback@songtalk.ca. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel for live performance videos and full episodes. And subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. And please support us at our Patreon page. You can visit songtalk.ca/support. Thank you to everyone who supported us so far. And please join us at our next monthly Song Talk meetup. Whether you're in Toronto for our in-person meetups or anywhere in the world for our online meetups, it's free to join on Eventbrite and free to attend the meetup. Bring a song and a lyric sheet and get constructive feedback from other songwriters. Visit songtalk.ca/meetup to register. You can follow me at neilmodi.com. If Phil were here, he'd say to follow him at philemery.ca. And Olivia, I think you already alluded to it. Your favorite social media is Insta?
Yeah, I love Instagram.
Yeah, that's where you post the most.
Yes, 100%.
That's where all the music people seem to be.
Yeah.
And be sure to stop by the website songtalk.ca to browse past shows and find out how you can be a guest. Thanks for tuning in, and keep on writing. Okay, very cool. That's a cut.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, that was fun.
No,
Yeah.
that was lovely. I really appreciated chatting with you, and I loved the questions and conversation. It's
Awesome.
just fun to talk about the creation of music, so I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah. We
Yeah.
enjoy nerding out on this show.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I think what's fun is most musicians are quite nerdy, and I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That's cool. Yeah, you should
Oh,
definitely come out to our meetup group because we do it over Zoom.
Oh,
This
nice.
month we're doing it over Zoom. You just get into a room with a bunch of other people and everyone offers feedback on each other's songs. It's really
No,
it's
that's really
nice.
fun. I love that. Definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.
And if I'm ever down in your direction, even like you were talking about in person, was that what it was?
Yeah, we have been doing them in person in Toronto. We're currently trying to find a new venue to have it in
Yeah,
Toronto because a lot of places are rather reluctant.
fair.
It seems
Oh
you have
man.
to shop it around some. It
Yeah.
has been moving. We were at one place happily for like 10 years, and finally they finally they ended up asking us for money for the thing, and we
Ah,
continue to want to do it for free because we want it free for our members and all the rest of it.
yeah.
And, you know,
That's
it's hard.
too bad, because I feel like especially like there's just so much talent in Canada and
Mm,
it especially like somewhere locally like here in the Okanagan they are so into supporting local artists. So that
mm,
sucks, to
yeah.
lose that
Yeah, and then
because
there
it's
are
not
some places like that, like the open mics and things like that. Like this still goes
yeah.
on, you know. But at the end of the day, I mean, even the last place we were at, you know, the owner there flat out told me, you know, the first time you guys came, you had a good turnout. The second time you guys came, we didn't make enough money. Like
Oh
that's what it
man.
boils down to. They're trying to sell
Yeah.
drinks and food, and they just didn't make enough.
Yeah. Oh, that's too
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
But still, I love the whole concept and everything because I think you can go to a show and see people sing, but like being around other songwriters and songwriters, don't always make as much money as the artists do and stuff. And I think
Mm.
it's nice to support them and like hear each other's ideas and songs and stories. So I love that.
Yeah, yeah, and most of the people in the meetup are amateurs. Like they're just doing it on the side, and they're not even necessarily trying to make even a modicum of performance
Just
out of
because
it.
they love
Sometimes they're
it.
just sitting in their room and writing songs, and they don't even care to share it with anybody or whatever. So it's it's just
I
kind
love
of
that though.
a neat vibe. And sometimes we do get people who have been more experienced and doing it for a long time and stuff. It's a good mix of people.
I
And
love that. And
you
I
always
think
learn
too,
something. You always feel inspired to
you
go write a
do.
song now.
And I think whether you've written one song or half a song or 10,000 songs and got deals or whatever, I think like you're a songwriter.
Yeah,
And it because people just it's from coming from feeling and things they're going through
yeah.
or whatever. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Oh,
I mean, the last time I was there, I put my lyrics on these little sheets, and everyone, I don't know if you can see that. Everyone jotted down
oh yeah,
notes and stuff about, oh,
nice.
that lyric doesn't really work, and maybe you should try a different melody change here, and all this sort of stuff. It's amazing.
Nice. Well, and it's fun because everybody listens to music completely differently. Everyone
Yeah,
reads songs differently. So
yeah.
it's fun. Like you might be like, okay, what I love what I made, but when you put it out to the world or whatever you do with it, like other people are going to respond differently. So it's cool to hear what they thought of certain words or melodies or whatever. I think that's really cool.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. It gives us about a week or so to edit this and get it online, but we'll shoot you a note when it's live, and yeah, I'll be happy to have you back on the show in the future.
I'd love to. 100%. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Great
I
chatting with you,
appreciate it.
Olivia.
You too. Have a great night.
Great. You too.
See you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.